Hey everybody, welcome back to the Foyr talk session. I have the pleasure today of introducing Aida Lora. Aida will be discussing home interior design after pandemic, which is definitely all on our minds. As we know, we've been talking about it for a day and a half. So post-COVID pandemic, Aida is a registered interior designer in the state of Florida with a bachelor in architecture and master's in interior architecture. And Ida's also, which I found extremely interesting, first time I've seen this, has a certificate in yacht and cruise ship interior design, which I thought was really, really cool. So Ida, welcome to the stage and take it away.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you for inviting me to FoyrTalks. This is a very, very interesting event. I hope that you guys repeat it next year or in the next 6 months. So again, thank you for inviting me. I feel so humbled to be here, and welcome everyone to the Home Interior Design After Pandemic webinar. So before even thinking or try to imagine and envision how the residential interior design will be after COVID-19, because this is not over yet. We're still going through the storm, right? So let's step back and start remembering how the residential interior design settings and interaction was before COVID-19, right? So we used to have family and friends gathering near the kitchen island, near the dining space. That's where we were, you know, we used to have wine, cheese, have conversations, very informal, had everybody there. And the examples that I'll put here are more into, let's say, the typical family, typical middle class setting. So then we used to have spaces very well defined, right? A living room that probably used twice a year, twice a month, once a month. The dining space, the kitchen, the family room, the bedrooms, the bathroom. We used to go to gatherings during the day, at night, and let's say if you were part of a family of, you know, working parents and the kids going to school, the house will stay, you know, neat during the day, no use at all, and everybody will be doing their specific tasks. If you needed to work from home one day or two because you were sick, your kids were sick, or a specific situation, you will work from home in your living area, in a coffee table, even in your bedroom. So that was not an issue. That was how residential interior design was seen in terms of general middle class family setting. And in terms of design, going specifically on design and programming and bubble diagrams and space area and how the privacy and how the connection will work within the spaces. This is an example of how a typical, again, middle class family setting, residential setting was designed and was laid out before COVID-19. So you had a direct connection with the dining area from the kitchen, direct connection from the dining to the family or living area to have that interaction, semi-direct or indirect connection from the kitchen to the bedroom, direct connection from the bedroom to the bathroom, maybe indirect connection from the kitchen to the laundry room. And that's how, you know, a typical residential setting was envisioned, right? Not specifically, I'm not talking about, you know, penthouses with office settings and gyms and things like that. I'm talking into a typical middle class, most of us, residential setting. But what about the home office? What about the kids' studies room? What about the playrooms? What about the exercise room? Those spaces were not even envisioned as a must because of they were not needed. The family will go to the gym if they needed to exercise or do it outdoors. The kids will only play during the weekend, a little bit after school. The kids maybe didn't even need a study room because they are in probably in aftercare or in study in study sessions after school. And the home office. Most of us used to be working in the corporate environment or outside the residential setting. So having a desk or a little space to plug in your computer here and there, that was not an issue. But having a ergonomic home office was not even part of something that we were envisioned as a middle class, as a typical residential setting. So how does this function started to shift during the pandemic, right? What happened? What happened for the last 6 months, for the last 5, 7 months, right? We started working from home, and before we never had that flexibility. In my case, I used to travel a lot, twice a month. So I was traveling a lot, going into the corporate space every single day, toddler going to daycare, my husband working outside of the house. So quarantine got us locked down inside a residential setting. We were pushed to interact together 24/7, doing our activities in the same location. We needed to work, do social activities, play with our kids, and also, of course, sleep and go to bathroom, cook, and all of that. So it was, a big shock for the entire humanity, for the way we used to envision having those spaces in our home. So people started to using the dining table as a desk for the kids, for themselves, the adults, to work and have more space because they didn't have that home office setting. Some people were alone at home in a little studio, meaning, just a bedroom that becomes a living room with a small bathroom, and they had to work from their beds because, again, just going to the office every day was part of their regular routine. So everything, the mind and the activities had to shift. We had to adapt. And in addition to that, we had all these cleaning protocols, right? We had to work as a family, or if you were alone, if the people that were alone in their homes locked down, they had to do additional cleaning, additional precautions when bringing things from outside to the inside, including food, or even who will go inside their homes from the exterior space. So all those things happen so quickly in 6 months, 5 months, depending on the part of the world that you were. And as we are used to, right? The human race are quickly adaptable. We adapted. We started virtual education. We automatically started doing Zoom meetings, Zoom education, education via Zoom, WebEx meeting. We adapted. And that's the most beautiful thing that us as a human being we can do. We are able to adapt. So moving forward, as interior designers, of course, we have to consider everybody's culture, everybody's routine, everybody's lifestyle, and we have to adapt our design to that, specifically in the residential setting. So understanding the position of that family and the way they're gonna interact from now on after the pandemic is something. But also general ideas that we need to consider are the ones that I'm gonna discuss next. So let's talk about the home office. I think that after COVID-19, the home office, even a little corner, has to be now present in the interior layout. It has to be considered from day one. From when you are space planning, you have to consider, you have to even ask the question to the client: do you want a home office? Do you want a home setting, office setting in a little corner? You have to consider that. And the things that you need to consider for this specific area are, of course, natural lighting, if it's possible, depending on your location. Natural lighting is always good. If it's not possible to get natural lighting, I will recommend to have a very the correct luminance on a task lighting on that work surface. Flexibility. Flexibility is also that you need to have. Let's say that you could you can propose the client to have a sit to stand desk to provide the flexibility of, you know, mobility, right? So to take 30 minutes break during the day, walk around, maybe there's a puppy, maybe there's a toddler walking around, so the parent has to be, you know, sitting, standing. That flexibility is also key. You need to provide flexibility to the client on that home office setting. Ergonomics, and I think that this one is the most important one. Ergonomics, you need to provide not a dining table, you need to specify a comfortable task chair that if, let's say, you have a sit to stand desk that is able to go up and down, right? It could be a stool. So providing that comfort to the client will avoid future issues, meaning lower back pain, neck pain. So ensure that ergonomics is present when you are to select the furniture for that home office. It's not only about beautiful, I don't want to mention any brand, about beautiful furniture, expensive furniture. It's about also comfortable furniture, because that person will spend 5, 4, 7 hours sitting on that piece of furniture. Privacy, right? So if the kids are gonna be in the house now because of virtual education, you need to have some sort of privacy. You need to have you need to be able to have your Zoom meetings. You need to be able to be isolated from the sound, be isolated from the other activities happening in the house. So having some sort of partition or maybe furniture that divides the space is also key. So think about privacy when locating your home office in your layout. And then last quality is technology, right? So technology is also key. You need to have, let's say, you know, a good computer, quality equipment for your virtual meetings. If you need additional speakers to hear a presentation, additional screens, if so. So all of these will help you with ergonomics. So natural lighting, flexibility, ergonomics, and privacy. Next, the kids study area, right? So before, you only needed to think about a small desk with a beautiful chair and a couple decor accessories to have that study area, because the kids will only gonna spend there like 1 or 2 hours a day after school or so. But now, if we're thinking on a long-term virtual education, we need to think about other qualities of that space, right? So natural lighting, whenever is possible. Natural lighting gives you energy. Natural lighting maintains you, you know, in action, is good for you, and is also good for to have more visibility for the task that you are performing. Technology, you need to provide to this kids study area with the right technology, the speaker, the screens, the iPad, if the kids needs the iPad, the headphones, all the right technology needs to be allocated and needs to be considered in the design when you are preparing this area. And of course, ergonomics. Again, it's not about that beautiful chair. It's also about a comfortable chair, a comfortable task chair. Don't select a dining chair for the study area. Make sure that you specify a durable and very comfortable chair, again, to avoid the lower back pain, the neck pain, and all of that. The playroom. So you want to separate what is the activity of studying from playing. You don't want to have the kids in the playroom doing virtual education. You want to separate that. Whenever they're studying, they shouldn't be near toys. They should be focusing on their professors, on the computer, on the tasks that they're being told to perform. They shouldn't be distracted. So separating the playroom from the study area is key. This is something, these two areas you cannot mix, because that way you're gonna avoid a lot of misunderstanding, you're gonna avoid a lot of conflict with the kids and the parents. So taking in consideration the indirect connection from the playroom to the kids study area when doing your diagrams is something that you shouldn't forget. Natural lighting is always good to have it in most of the spaces. Flexibility to be able to transform this play area in a place that you can receive other kids, because eventually the kids will start receiving friends and cousins and other people in those playrooms. So make sure that there's flexibility to move the furniture around, rearrange, have a TV screen, the games, and all of that. And variety. So different type of seating arrangement, poof, stools, low chairs, high chairs, different arrangement helps with the fun that the kids will have there and the different activities that they will be able to perform in this playroom. Next is the exercise room, right? Like I mentioned before, before the pandemic, I never work out at home. And now I prefer to work out at home either than going to a gym. It's more convenient for me. So I have to now think on an exercise room or an exercise corner space to, let's say, to at least allocate my mat or the weights, some gym equipment. So this is something that some families might ask you. You should ask the question: do you exercise at home? Do you want a gym, an exercise room in your space, in your residential setting? And again, having the flexibility on this space, because maybe you don't exercise for a week, you don't exercise the entire day. So not having a space only for exercise, I think, is key. So flexibility and storage are two qualities of an exercise room in a residential setting. Social areas. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, we used to have our guests near the kitchen, near where the food was being prepped and served. Now maybe that thinking is shifted. Maybe you don't want to have the people putting their hands on the food. Maybe you don't want to have the people talking about the food, on top of the food, right? Because of all the germs and the virus and this and that. Maybe now is when we're gonna go back and use the living area for its purpose. Because before we had the family room, a living area, and that living area, again, you probably use it twice or 3 times a year. So now maybe it's the time to focus on that living area and use it. And so flexibility on that space to provide an area to, let's say, again, serve food and drinks and have the same kind of setting that you had on the kitchen island without the prepping, of course. Connectivity, right? So have a connectivity in between, or at least an indirect or semi-direct connectivity with the kitchen where the food is being prepped and where other people in the same gathering are. Maybe having that indirect connectivity is desired. And also entertainment, right? So in the kitchen, you had that family room connection. So maybe in the living room, if you can somehow kind of have, use the technology to provide that entertainment as well, will be also a quality to consider on. And then last but not least, let's talk about finishes, right? I have been in the industry of the interior design for the last 9 years, mostly in commercial design, hospitality. And I know when we are doing projects in residential, we look at the fabric that, okay, this is residential quality or this is commercial contract. I think that now clients are going to start asking for cleanable textiles, textiles that have qualities that maybe have like some germ control, is easy to clean, maybe bleachable. That way, whenever they have a gathering at home and that gathering is over, they can easily clean the space and kind of have it virus free or germ free. So I think that that trend is gonna start growing. That maybe contract textile and finishes are gonna be specified. Even they're being a little bit more expensive. Maybe some contract or some furniture finishes manufacturer are gonna start looking into that, making it more affordable. But those type of finishes are going to be specified in residential setting. I already have clients asking for vinyl instead of a woven fabric for specific pieces of furniture. And what about carpet? Some clients before used to prefer the entire home to be carpet because it feels really, really good on the feet, walking on the feet, on the lower back is cushioned, and also the sound is better. But you know what? Maybe that's gonna start shifting too. Maybe some clients, even in the northern states of the United States, that is where where usually those clients prefer to have a carpet in the overall interior space of a residential setting. Maybe now they're gonna be more open to tile or wood or LVT, maybe because of the cleanability and the way this is maintained. And what about the hard surfaces? I think that the same condition of the textile, the same quality of being a contract material, hard surface, it's gonna start being specified in residential settings. So let's say, again, I don't wanna mention any brand, but Corian or Wilson R, those type of engineered hard surfaces might be considered for the kitchen counter, for the bathroom setting, because they're very easy to clean. So instead of specifying a natural stone, maybe a marble, the client might ask you as a designer, can you specify something that is non-porous, that I can put bleach on it and it's not gonna dye or change the color. So I think that those are the trends on finishes. So cleanability, maybe contract quality, hard surfaces are gonna be preferred instead of carpet in some areas, and stones might be the preference of stone, of natural stone, might be shifted a little bit just because of the cleanability and that condition. Really great content here. I'm reading up the chat now. I suggest tile grout, align thin grout line. It will be great when cleaning. This is so fascinating. Okay, I'm now catching up with the chat. Sorry, I'm now catching up. So that's it for my end. I went over all the different qualities of what I think residential interior design will be after COVID-19. If you guys have any questions, I'm here and able to respond to your concerns and questions.
Yeah, Ida, we have a couple questions. I'll tee one up for you now.
Okay.
Okay. How soon after quarantine did you see design trends change?
I think that it changed right on quarantine. I had clients that during quarantine, they were requesting me, hey, can we reselect the fabric for the lounge chair? I think I want a vinyl now. Because of that, because of the cleanability quality of the fabric. So yes, right I think during quarantine, let's say mid-May, at the end of April, I already had concerns and requests from clients to relook at the finishes.
Okay, perfect. Here's another question. I know sit-to-stand desks were already getting popular. Have you seen the popularity increase significantly since quarantine?
Yes, and especially for the residential setting. So the sit-to-stand desks were really popular in the commercial setting, in the corporate setting. So, these big corporations and office setting will buy, all these desks for their employees. But now residential clients are asking me, hey, Ida, I've seen that in some offices, they have these desks. Can I have it from my home? So yes, I think it is increasing. It is
Okay,
increasing.
perfect. Thank you. And then we have one more. Do you think trends will ever return to pre-COVID?
I think that we will live in a different world. For good, 100% is going to be good, but I don't think that things will go back exactly how they were pre-COVID. I think that new trends are going to come out of this. And again, positive, all positive for residential interior design. This is going to be a booming. This is going to be the best time for residential interior designers because we are getting a lot of requests. People are putting attention to the details, to not only the way the space looks, but also the way it feels and the way it functions.
Excellent. All right, Ida, we thank you very, very much for taking the time today. There was a lot of good chatter, a lot of good chatting, and a lot of people saying thank you, great content. Thank you for joining us today and sharing all of that.
Thank you so much, Rich. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. We wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.